listening to the LOZ Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LOZ Podcast Network. My name's Ken Lawler. I'm here today with Mark Spears, the owner, managing partner of The Reserve. And we're going to talk about the restaurant. We're going to talk about the lofts above the restaurant. We're going to talk food. This is one of my favorite spots at the lake, man. I mean, you know, I'm there a lot. So
right, yeah.
the menu is amazing. The atmosphere is second to none on the lake. I mean, you guys really found a way to, and I think you call it upscale casual, but I mean, if you're going out for a really nice dinner, you can go there dressed up. If you're coming in off the boat and you're still, you know, in your boat clothes, you can go that way as well. But the atmosphere for the Reserve is just second to none on the water. And I think you guys hit it out of the park.
Appreciate
it. Tell me a little bit about how you got to the lake, man. So what brought you to Lake of the Ozarks?
So when I was a kid, I remember coming down, you know, with family friends. We had a good family friend that they had a place down here, and my family would come down, you know, jet skis, four-wheelers, all that sort of stuff. So I just loved being down at the lake. Then when I went to college, I thought no better place to work in the summer.
That's the best job in the summer, isn't it?
Crazy enough, like my first job down here was working the docks at Ozark Barbecue. Which
isn't even around anymore.
Not even around anymore, and probably the roughest docks in the world. So.
I'll tell you right now, I never parked my boat at that place. I would go by road because it was an adventure every time you parked your boat there. But that's a cool place to kind of, get your feet wet at the lake.
Absolute staple of the lake for so many years. And then, you know, throughout my time before I moved to San Diego, I bar backed at Shooters kind of in the heyday. A year after that,
Saturday night or Friday night? I'm trying to remember. Shooters was
Saturday.
Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night mayhem. And then bartended at Topsider during its crazy days too, which was, you know, just what an amazing, you know, staple of the community, what the Eblings did for years.
We had Susan on a podcast about a couple months ago, and she was going into some stories of Topsider, and it was a great place.
Absolutely. And then I was fortunate enough to work for Mark and Brian Barrett at Dog Days. You know, and then open up that kind of what they called the dog pounds with them, you know, help them with that for a couple of years. And then they kind of tapped me to be the GM and open Shorty Pants for them.
Okay. So you were the guy that opened Shorty Pants.
Yeah. Well, it was, you know, Mark and Brian Barrett and the Kendalls. And so it was a big part of getting that put together for them and kind of getting that established. And then I decided, you know, back then the winters were a little different down here, not a lot, you know, and so I was like, I'm going to kind of get out of town. So I moved to San Diego.
Which the winters are perfect in San Diego.
It's hard to beat the weather in San Diego. So spent, let's see, I think 11 years out there. Got married out there, you know, had my first two kids, Harper and Sloan out there. And then my wife and I decided we were going to try and make it back to the Midwest. So plan was to move back to Kansas City. And then some of the guys that, you know, I used to be roommates with and good friends with, you know, they you know, co-owners at Shady Gators and needed some help. So we moved back, worked out there for a couple summers. And, you know, that was 2016 when we moved back.
You hit them all, man. I mean, you've hit all the big places at the lake. You definitely have it dialed in.
I've seen a lot down here for sure.
Well, and then so tell me about the Reserve. So you get on that project, and it's not even a restaurant, right? When you start, I mean, this thing's an old resort.
Yeah. So I mean, it was, you know, the building was built in 1932. It was the very first lakeside lodging at Lake of the Ozarks. So the dam was, I believe, finished in 31, and then this would have been probably the next big project that was completed, you know, shortly after the dam.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at some of our interiors and stuff like that throughout the building, they're super original. From the flooring in the restaurant, it's never been like the subfloor when you walk in. That's all like the subfloor from upstairs in the lofts. The concrete still has some of the shuffleboard paint on it from back when that was the game room for the lodge. So, you know, that project just kind of it just kind of had full steam ahead and turned into this super unique. But
it's a beautiful building. I mean, it's really, when I go in there, I mean, the look and feel of that building, like you said, it's got some old lake charm to it, but it's modern too. And I can't figure out like the eclectic version of that.
Industrial, kind of modern industrial, but then it's got some of that really cool, just like old steel and wood and concrete that, you know, and I mean, the foundation, all the concrete columns, that's original. The steel that runs through the restaurant's original. Like the front of the building, all the masonry works from original. I mean, you can find like little stones and there's like coins that
The people put it.
they stuck in the walls, you know, and so it was a unique build to kind of retrofit that thing into what it is now.
And so above you have the LOZ. So there's and I say LOZ, but these things they're outstanding. I mean, I've been through them and they're nothing like you see that. It's not a condo. These are actual really cool modern lofts.
Yeah, and Natalie, who did, you know, the design and all the decor elements and stuff like that, just an amazing job. I mean, they are luxury to the T. Beautiful, you know, all the glass on the front of the building that just looks out over the cove. Super unique. I mean, the top floor, it's a 6-bedroom penthouse with like a sunken living room. You know, 2 masters that face the lake, and then bedrooms kind of along this backside. There's a pool table in there that you can top with a ping pong table, big kitchen island, you know, everything he needs in each unit, you know, washer and dryer. I mean, full kitchen. It's kind of just show up and everything's there. And so we got that 6-bedroom on top, which is stunning. And the ground level that you drive in, there's a 1-bedroom in the center. It's got like the original fireplace makeup from the building. And then on either side of that, there's 2 2-bedroom units. And then you kind of go down a flight of stairs or on the pool deck, which is private for the loft guest.
That's its own private pool.
There's 2 3-bedrooms there. The one that comes out onto the pool deck, it's great for families because it's a 3-bedroom, but it's got 2 kind of master suites, and then it's got a bunk room. And then it actually, there's a connecting door, so you can make that a 6-bedroom as well. And then that opens up into kind of a fun little one. It's three larger bedrooms, but then it's also got the dinner table. If you take the top of it off, it's got a poker table in there, and then it's got a shuffleboard. So
everything you could want.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a little bit, you know, just depending on the size of your family or group or what you're looking for, you know. And I mean, if you're staying upstairs, you can walk down, have a bite to eat, grab some drinks, you know, all that sort of stuff, and just walk back upstairs. It's hard to beat.
Well, I'll tell you, in last summer, my brother-in-law was looking for a place to have a corporate retreat. He had about, I think there was 18 of them. I set him up with you guys, and I think he took almost all the rooms, but he was just blown away by the experience because he is, you know, we try to find a space that we can have meetings in and we can get together with these people and enjoy dinners. And they just loved it. I mean, they spent the whole like 2 or 3 days during the week there. They had 2 or 3 meals with you guys. And, you know, so corporate get-togethers, I think, are something that are good at your place too, right? You handle a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, you can go 2 different ways. Like we've done events where, you know, we've had a group come take the entire building, you know, and they'll kind of disperse everyone and then upstairs in that penthouse, massive living room, right? There's the dining room table, I think seats like 12 people. Plus you've got, you know, huge living room with multiple couches and chairs. And so we've had people that have done retreats and done like sales meetings and tactical stuff. Like they'll do a meeting upstairs. I've even had groups in the late fall or early spring or winter where they'll do that, but then they'll come down and we'll kind of set up a little, you know, however configuration they're looking for.
Right, do or
and we'll set up a lunch for them, and you know, they can kind of have a working lunch and have a meeting down in the restaurant, and you know, they've got everything they need upstairs. So, you know, it's not your, I guess, typical meeting space that, you know, you go to a hotel, you book a meeting,
right,
stuff like that. But you know, we're pretty customizable and make it work.
Yeah, and you have the outdoor space. Let's talk about the restaurant. That's what we're here, man. And let's get to the food, because I'll tell you what, the restaurant to me is one of the most unique menus at the lake. I mean, you guys have stuff on your menu that I don't see outside of big metropolitan areas, New York, San Diego, all those places. I mean, it's obvious to me you came from a bigger market and you're influencing what you had out there here at the lake. Talk a little bit about the concept behind the menu and what you guys are trying to do there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the goal when we decided to do the restaurant, you know, with my partners, you know, the Jason, Joey and Sean, and, you know, the goal was to build a restaurant. Everyone's got, you know, a lot of people have beautiful, beautiful boats down here, right?
Yeah,
you know,
very beautiful.
Yeah. You know, and it's, and I mean, what better way to kind of finish a day on the lake, you know, go home, take a shower, get dressed up or whatever, hop on your boat, and then go sit down. I mean, the feel of the restaurant to me is like you walk into it, you don't necessarily feel like you're at a lake bar or lake restaurant.
No, it's not.
I mean, it definitely feels like you could be sitting on a corner, in a city somewhere in a
yeah, it's just you could be sitting downtown Chicago.
Yeah,
so it's
and
cool.
so I think when we designed it, that's what we were going for. And then when it comes to the menu, we wanted it to be upscale. We wanted it to be farm to table, fresh ingredients, top quality, when it comes to everything, ingredient wise and what we use in the food, what we use behind the bar. And so when the original kind of menu, as we were kind of putting it together, I just kind of was picking and choosing some of my favorite dishes, from my time at all the different restaurants and places that, that I had been a part of when I was in San Diego and everything. And, and then kind of tweaking and customizing. And that's kind of how the menu first kind of got put together was, just kind of, this is what I like these. And, we worked with we kind of hired a chef, to help us kind of put a menu together, to consult with us. And that's kind of how where we kind of put our foot in the ground. And then, over the years, just kind of kept evolving. And then, now with Chef Scott Romano, he's just amazing.
He's creative. I mean, and I love he seems to have a little favorite for Asian influences and like I'll see a little Korean stuff in there, and you don't get that at the lake. I mean,
no, we were joking the other day because he was talking about writing a special, and he was just like, he goes, I don't know what's going on, but he's like, I feel like every special I do like leans into
it's great,
but it's like the flavors are just so
that's awesome,
amazing and all that. And I mean, he's a huge pork guy. Like that's like he's one of his big things was he was running an event in Hillsborough, California called Pigs and Pinot, where you have 25 chefs and Pinot Cup, and they do like 3 days of basically only pig.
Wow.
Only, and Pinot Noir. And it's, it's an awesome event. And it's, we went up there, we went up there one year, and it's crazy. But I mean, the guy can cook.
Yeah.
He can draw from just about any type of cuisine and come up with some amazing creative dishes.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I get the pork on the menu, the double cut pork loin.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So
it's like a fillet, man. You cut through, it's like butter.
Yeah, so we brine that for at least 24 hours, which is how we're able to cook a thick piece of meat that that they can still be super juicy. That one's got leaning on a little kind of Mexican Latin theme this year with the elote corn and that, but that's a fun dish too.
And you guys, I mean, there's duck on the menu. I know sometimes, and your menu changes all the time, which is really cool. I know people love to have their favorites, but you bring them back around. But it seems to me like, when I go in there, there's always something new going on. And that's kind of exciting because, when you find a favorite place at the lake, and you probably have this too, people come in a lot and they want a variety of stuff.
Yeah. So we kind of committed to redeveloping the menu twice a year. It's hard to say you're a farm to table restaurant for us, that doesn't change seasonality with, what's fresh and vegetables are in season, so, we change the menu spring going into the summer. Typically we keep the same proteins, right? We just completely demolish the dish and then chef just writes a completely new one. And then we'll kind of look through it and we'll put it together. We'll taste it. We'll tweak it, and if we put it on the menu and and it's not selling or we're not having success with it or people aren't liking it, then we'll scrap it. And he'll write a new one and we'll put a new one out. Like we're not stuck to something. If it makes sense to us, but it doesn't make sense to
it doesn't click, then let's move on and find something that does.
So we change it in the spring. We have a summer menu that we keep the same. And then we'll change it again in the fall going into winter. And then we'll have a winter menu, that will run usually until we'll start swapping them out in March or April. And then, we've talked about it this year, and we're going to make a big commitment to, running specials for sure on the weekends, hopefully nightly, where we'll just be able to add, a new option for, sometimes we get people come in town, they eat there 2-3 times a week.
You want to give something.
Yeah. And so you want to be able to offer something that, a little different or, something that's not on the menu that they can't get next week when they're in town. So,
yeah. Well, and I mean, the thing I love about the menu is, when take for instance, and this is a simple example, but everybody has salad dressing. Everybody might make their own salad dressing. I don't know anybody who made a deviled egg salad dressing for a salad. I mean, that is so creative and it's so good. I'm like, how did you even think about this?
You have to talk to him about that. I mean, that's almost started to become like our signature dressing that I don't will ever be able to take off the menu. I think I took we did a catering or took food somewhere, for a group at the Four Seasons POA, and I knew some guys there, and we had a half of a deli container left of it, and he's just like, "Can I take that home?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like,
"It's that good."
I'm not. He's like, "This stuff is incredible."
It is, and I mean, you got stuff like, I mean, I remember, and I know you bring stuff back around, but like you had poutine on the menu. I mean, you always have some kind of fry.
Yeah, we had the duck poutine last year that was pretty tasty. The duck this year is fantastic. It's a duck confit with picked duck in it, and it's got hummus on the plate and arugula and tartar seasoning and carrots and curried cauliflower and a Moroccan glaze, and it's just like the flavors are just outrageous. And if you're a duck confit fan, I mean, it's, and then basically we take that very similar dish, pull the duck out, and then now we've got just a packed flavorful like a vegetarian dish.
Yeah, I saw the cauliflower, the roasted cauliflower. Yeah,
that's a vegetarian dish. And the glaze, we can make it vegan with just leaving off the glaze, depending on, some vegans do or don't eat honey because it's got honey in it. So we did that so that we had kind of a staple vegan vegetarian dish for those folks that come in.
I mean, that the poke bowl, I mean, I just had that for the first time last week, and you talk about layers of flavor. I mean, there's a lot going on in that dish. It's amazing.
Yeah, we put that on a couple of years ago, and that's a staple that, we'll have that dish come back every year, probably for the most part. It's just, it's light. It's a perfect summer, kind of entree, or depending on how hungry you are with all the, I mean, we do the tuna in like a chili oil. The rice is flavored, and then we've got edamame.
Oh, there was like 18
carrots, mango, pickled ginger. And then we do wasabi aioli over the top of it with sriracha and like some sesame seeds, So
yeah. So as you guys could tell, this restaurant is not burger, chicken sandwich. There's a place for that at the lake. We love it. I mean, everybody loves to go get traditional lake food, right? I mean, who doesn't want to get a pork tenderloin as big as your head, or who wants hello, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Right. But if you're looking for something that's just amazingly different and eclectic and just flavorful, I mean, you got to try the Reserve. It's just, to me, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't get by there and at least try it out. And I wouldn't just pop in on the weekend. Like, you guys are packed on the weekends. Make reservations.
It's right? I mean, if you plan on walking in on a Friday or Saturday night, it's gonna be tough to get a table, or you're gonna be there for a while. I mean, the great thing about our setup, right? So first off, we take reservations,
which is rare at the lake.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when I was deciding that that's what we were going to do, talking to some of the industry people I know, and it's like, you're going to take reservations on the lake, you're crazy. I just felt at the level that we wanted,
you want to know what's coming
to make it, we wanted to be able to let people make plans and come in, and we wanted to kind of have an idea as to what we needed to prep and everything else like that. So I always suggest reservations, especially on the weekends. The earlier you can call, during the week or even the week before, helps you, secure the time or the size of the party that you're looking for. We do have 2 great bars. So we've got our main bar inside, and then we've got this big, like 20-person communal table that's open seating that you can just walk in and you can have appetizers, you can have full dinner there, you can just have drinks. And outside, we've got this beautiful little fire table that's, again, open seating, same thing, full dinner, drinks, appetizers, whatever. And then we've got our outdoor little tiki container bar.
Yeah, that's it. Is it in the container?
Yeah, shipping container. So if you kind of look at the right side of the building, the pool is a shipping container with a kind of bathroom, right? And then I said, well, let's build a bar out of a shipping container. And our general contractor's like,
how would you even get? You're down a big hill and you're off the water. I don't know how you get a container down.
It was a crane operator that was probably a little nervous at times. But we dropped 2 of them down there because then we built the bathrooms out of it too. So right behind the bar, there's a little gap, and then there's 3 bathrooms back there that are built out of a shipping container too. It's just I wasn't the first person. I saw it, there's a couple places in San Diego, they had one, and, I thought it was cool and different. And it matched that we knew we were doing the pool.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, this will just tie the pool into it and it'll look cool. And it, it makes it super easy, because whenever you build a bar, I feel like down here, like sometimes they're different shapes and they're on whatever, they're hard to secure and close up. Well, this one, we took it up to fabricator, walked around, made some measurements, he cut it up and we flip some awnings onto it and, latches and, it's just
Self-enclosed and all ready to go.
weatherproof. So,
And you guys do some big parties. I know you do every year the big gala for Kellysport, right?
Yeah.
That's the yacht gala, and it's a big party. And what's cool about it is that you married together boating, yachts, and the atmosphere going on at the restaurant. It's kind of like the perfect marriage, right?
yeah. And to tie that into, we've been fortunate enough to raise a ton of money for local charity for Kids Harbor.
Yeah, great.
Working with Kyle and the guys over at Kellysport, they're great people. And it's a fantastic event. I mean, it's we've had people comment on the event that have been down to and done some of those large kind of food and wine events in the cities and elsewhere, and have said it's one of the most fun events they've ever been to.
Yeah.
It's Kyle and his team. They pack the dock full of just about every spec of boat that they have over there, and then some customers that have some of their other boats, they bring them over. It's you kind of have to have a slip reserved through them, because they have the slips mapped out, and this is where the whole docks are full. We close down for the entire day because it takes the entire day to set up, and we bring in wine barrels and had custom tabletops built for them. And so we've got 2 or 3 stations inside the restaurant, 2 or 3 stations up on the upper patio. On the lower patio, we got another 2 stations. And then down on the grass, we've got like 5 or 6 stations. Each station is a chef. A lot of them are local chefs from other restaurants, and they've been generous enough to.
That's cool. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, and they have a great time, and they let that so chef kind of is working on it right now, where he's sending them like getting menus and getting ideas back from people, and then they kind of write a dish that you can it's a moving event, so there's not a whole lot of seating. So you're walking around taking a bite, setting it down, going to the next table, taking a bite, getting a little plate of food.
Almost like a tapas feel, like
yeah. And I mean, you're just kind of cruising around, and then each table, I've got paired with it, a couple different wines to try as well.
And we didn't talk about that. We talked about the food a lot, but you guys do a ton with wine and spirits, right? I mean, that's a big part of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I would say, what we've been able to procure over the years, as far as like our bourbon and whiskey collection, it's down here, it's, second to none. We've been able to, we've got 3 different single barrel picks that are 1932 reserve barrel picks. Like we got a Eagle Rare 1932 reserve barrel pick. We've got a Whistle, we're in our 2nd year of our Whistle Pig barrel pick. We got a Buffalo Trace barrel pick that's ours. We've got some super, hard to get tequilas as well. And the cocktail list, we change that every year too. We keep a couple staples, but then we try and rotate that out, every year and be creative. And
you serve a couple espresso martinis every once in a while too.
Every once in a while we have a couple of those. We've got it to the point now where, we have an espresso martini machine that pops this, beautiful espresso martini.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and I was like, why do you guys have that? He's like, well, we got an order for 50 of them at one time.
Yeah.
And we learned really quickly we needed to.
Yeah. You'd spend half the night just shaking one drink if you didn't have it, and it's just, you try and make things, easier on your staff, but then you also try and make things so, the guests can have a better experience, because
there's a smoking boxes going. I mean, that's what I mean by this. You guys got to get here, because the place is so different and so eclectic in how you can enjoy food and spirits and wine. And I mean, there's so much going on there too. And let's face it, if you want to bring someone to the lake and you want to impress them at a place that's super nice, and you want to take them out on your boat and have a really, really fun evening, and there's nowhere to go but you guys. I mean,
yeah, Smoked Pig Old Fashions, that's probably the signature. I mean, it's a Whistle Pig 6-year, our single barrel. Old fashioned, we beautiful drink, but then we have these, handcrafted smoke boxes that we fill full of, smoke, takes to the table. The server
the presentation,
hold the acrylic back,
so cool.
smoke starts pouring out of it, and we let the guests reach in and grab it. And it's like as soon as you see one of those go by, someone,
I want one.
Yeah, I'll take one of those. So, and it's delicious. It's just a fun presentation. It's a great drink, and I mean, it's it's turned us into I think we opened the Reserve first summer out. We did the old fashioned, we did the Manhattan, we did the our Blackberry Bramble, which is a gin based cocktail. Open up a restaurant at the lake, you're never gonna think that like your signature number one selling cocktails are gonna be gin and like bourbon based.
No,
I mean, it's like
never rum runners.
I love a good rum runner. I mean, it's that's a staple to the pain and the those are absolute lake staples. So it was great to see that the guests and the community kind of wrap their arms around what we were doing,
Right.
And we're happy to like, hey, go on this journey with us. Like we're putting this out there. It's gonna be delicious. You might have stepped out of your comfort zone a little bit, because we've got stuff on the menu. Some people are like, I have no idea what some of the stuff is, and I'm sure we take people out of their comfort zone, but my philosophy's kind of always been, look, if you're trying it, and you're not satisfied or you don't like it or whatever, just let us know. We'll get you something that that you enjoy. I don't want people coming in and stepping out of their comfort zone and be like, I don't know, this wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have some things that are, but for the menu is so all inclusive that you're gonna find something on there you like.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do with the wine list too, right? I mean, there's a bottle of wine, whether you like white or red. There's bottles of wine that you'll probably, some you may never find out in the wild, as we call it,
right?
Because they're that hard to find or that hard to get. So we've got those things, and then we've got something for someone that wants just that they know exactly what they want. They've had it, they've 100 times, they don't want to change. This is what they like. We've got that stuff too, so
it's truly a cool experience, and I know you guys do a heck of a job with the restaurant, and you're not stopping there, are you? I'm gonna get you maybe tell me a little. There's some rumors going around that we might have another location of restaurant open up not too far from you.
Yeah. So if you drive by car and you're, depending on which way you're coming, but you turn on Osage Beach Road, which is the turn off of
right by the school, the old school there,
the Parkway, to head to the Reserve. And you look to your right as you're turning down, there's a site that's, I would say, probably within a week or so, there'll be some footers and some foundation poured. So
can you tell us a little bit about it?
Project number 2 is in the works. It's, rumors have it there might be a couple different kind of mini concepts out of it. It might be a sushi.
Oh, come on,
a standalone sushi restaurant. That's
what the lake needs. Hope that rumor is correct.
Coming from California, we, my wife and I lived in like the North Pacific Beach area. And so when we lived there, it was, throw the kids in the stroller and you could walk to 100 different restaurants, within 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
So, and that's we spent a whole weekend never get in the car. You just kind of walk around and we had sushi 2-3 times a week out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's a few spots down here that, I mean, I go to Backwaters and have their sushi. They do a great job. And, and we'll sometimes, if we're in Jeff City, we end up at.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to go to Jeff City. It's like there's only 1 or 2 choices here. I mean, there's definitely space for sushi at the lake, and especially when it's done well. And you guys, knowing what you've done already, I'm excited. If that rumor is true, I'm excited.
Yeah. So I think I feel like there's a void there, and I feel like we can fill it. And then that'll be, I like small, tight little sushi restaurants, that, because that's, kind of what it feels like to me. So, there'll probably be possibly a corner of that restaurant that's going to be kind of a standalone separate entrance that'll be dedicated to sushi. And the larger part, will have full bar, and there'll be a little market spot in the as you walk in where, you want to get a charcuterie board, ordered or to take because you got a big group in town, or you want to grab something to take on the boat that's kind of pre-made, so you don't have to, go to the store and buy all the different stuff. So make charcuterie boards.
Oh, that's a cool concept. So you can actually come in and kind of build your own boards.
Yeah, we'll have some built. We can customize them if you let us know in advance, and there'll be a, the idea is to be a big kind of wood-fired oven in the middle of the restaurant that's on display. That there'll be someone back there making some fun stuff. And
I love it, man. Well, we're gonna get more into it when that concept's kind of finalized and you guys are a little further ahead. But be guys, be watching that corner because I think there's some really cool things coming. Particularly, I'm excited. The sushi, man, I'm there. So
yeah, I'm afraid that's all I'll eat for a year here is just nothing but sushi. So.
Wait, thanks for joining us today, man. We really love having you on the LOZ app and on the LOZ app podcast network. And you guys can always find them on the app and dining. You can get directions. You can go view their menu. I would suggest you take your boat if you can. I would suggest if you're going on the weekends, you make a reservation if you want to get in. But also lunch is an option now, right? I mean,
yeah. So our hours, I think with everyone down here, especially being on the water, they fluctuate. So right now, starting Memorial Day weekend, we're open 7 days a week for lunch. So we open at noon. We run our lunch menu from noon until 3. And then from 3 until 4, we're on happy hour. So limited menu because we're trying to get the kitchen switched over,
right.
Get the dinner guys in there and get their line all set up. So and then we start dinner at 4 o'clock. And we do operate a little bit later too for dinner. I mean, during the week, we close our kitchen at usually 10 o'clock.
Which is rare now because, I mean, since COVID, man, everything's closing at 8. I mean,
yeah, and I hated when you would look at, if because I'll do it sometimes, like it'll be 8:30 or whatever, and I'll like, we need to get some meat, and you look something up, and then it's like closing soon. I'm like, I don't want to walk into a restaurant right before they close. So I felt like we were kind of turning people away that maybe had that same feeling by if we were closing at 9. So 10, and then typically, if we've got people on the weekends, we'll keep the kitchen open until 11.
Oh wow, okay.
And the other thing is I mean, it can be a long day on the lake,
Yes.
So
you can get started late.
I don't know how many times, people spend the day out on the lake. They come home.
Well, take that shower. It takes a little longer.
Take that shower. You lay on the bed for a second. Like, I'm just going to right here for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to get ready. And then maybe that 5 minutes turns into like 20, 30. And then all of a sudden, get in the group of, 10, 15, however many, even 6 people, like all on the same page.
Yeah,
to, like,
takes an hour.
Yeah, it's like things don't always happen on time. So it gives people the option, that they still, because you can come, have dinner at 10 o'clock or whatever. I mean, and you'd be surprised on the weekends how full we are still.
That's definitely something that you guys want to know because it happens, and you can have a nice meal. I think when it does happen, you're like, well, I got to grab something. I got to grab a pizza from somewhere. I can't do something nice. If you're still wanting to come in somewhere around 9 o'clock, you can. So I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on the LOZ Podcast Network. We'll do another one as we get closer to the new, yet to be named fun place that's open on the corner.
Rumor.
But you guys got to go check it out. 1932 Reserve. It is awesome. If you need a place to stay, if you need a place to eat, if you want to go by boat, this is your place. So get there and see my friend Mark and all his staff, and they do a great job. So thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.